Picture this: a country where the world's oldest desert meets the Atlantic Ocean in a collision of fire and ice, where skeletal trees stand frozen in time against blood-red dunes that tower higher than skyscrapers, where diamonds scatter across forbidden coastlines and ancient rock art tells stories older than civilization itself. This is Namibia, a land so otherworldly that it's been chosen as the backdrop for alien planets and Hollywood blockbusters, yet remains one of Earth's most untouched frontiers. In a continent known for its wildlife spectacles and cultural richness, Namibia stands apart as nature's masterpiece of extremes. Here, you'll find landscapes so surreal they seem painted by an artist who refused to accept the limitations of reality. From the world's second-largest canyon to dunes that sing in the wind, from ghost towns swallowed by sand to waterfalls that appear and disappear with the seasons, this is a country where every vista challenges your understanding of what Earth can create. Today we're embarking on a visual journey through the 12 most breathtaking wonders of this southwestern African nation. Each destination we'll explore represents not just stunning beauty, but a masterclass in geology, ecology, and the raw power of natural forces. These aren't just pretty places, they're windows into Earth's most dramatic processes, preserved in one of the world's most sparsely populated countries where nature reigns supreme. Buckle up. We're about to discover why Namibia isn't just a destination, it's a revelation. Number 12. The Namib Desert, the world's oldest desert. Welcome to the Namib Desert, where time itself seems to have stopped. Stretching along Namibia's entire Atlantic coastline for over 1,200 miles, this isn't just any desert, it's Earth's oldest, having existed for at least 55 million years. To put that in perspective, when the first mammals were still figuring out how to walk upright, these sands were already ancient. The Namib is a study in extremes that defies logic. Here, towering sand dunes reach heights of over 1,000 feet, their surfaces shifting from deep crimson to burnt orange to golden amber as the sun traces its daily arc across the sky. But this isn't just a pretty face. The Namib is a living laboratory of adaptation. Plants and animals here have evolved survival strategies so extraordinary they seem like science fiction. Consider the Welwitschia mirabilis, a plant that looks like something from an alien world. These botanical marvels can live for over 1,000 years, surviving on nothing but fog and the occasional rainfall. Their twisted, leather-like leaves sprawl across the desert floor like the tentacles of some ancient sea creature, yet they're perfectly adapted to this harsh environment. Some specimens are estimated to be over 2,000 years old, making them older than Christianity itself. The desert's morning spectacle is perhaps its most magical feature. As the sun rises, a thick fog rolls in from the Atlantic Ocean, creating an ethereal landscape where visibility drops to mere feet. This fog isn't just atmospheric drama, it's a lifeline. The desert's inhabitants, from beetles to plants, have evolved ingenious ways to harvest water from this daily mist. Beetles tilt their bodies to channel water droplets into their mouths, while plants have developed specialized surfaces that act like natural water collectors. But the true stars of the Namib are its sand dunes, particularly those around Sossusvlei. These geological monuments shift and change constantly, yet maintain their essential character across millennia. The sand here isn't just any sand, it's been on a journey from the interior of Africa, carried by wind and water over millions of years, polished and refined until each grain becomes a tiny piece of desert jewelry. When the wind hits these dunes just right, they actually sing, producing haunting low-frequency sounds that can be heard for miles. What makes the Namib truly extraordinary isn't just its age or beauty, it's how it represents the ultimate expression of desert adaptation. This is a place where life doesn't just survive, it thrives in ways that redefine what's possible. From the fog-basking beetles to the side-winding snakes that never need to drink water, the Namib showcases evolution's most creative solutions to seemingly impossible challenges. Number 11. Fish River Canyon, Africa's Grand Canyon. Carved into the earth like a giant sculpture, Fish River Canyon stands as one of the most awe-inspiring geological formations on the African continent. This massive gorge stretches for 100 miles across southern Namibia, plunging to depths of over 1,800 feet and reaching widths of up to 17 miles. To stand on its rim is to witness the raw power of geological time compressed into a single, breathtaking vista. The canyon's creation story reads like an epic novel written in stone. Over the course of 500 million years, the Fish River has carved its way through layers of rock, each stratum telling a different chapter of Earth's history. The process wasn't gentle. It was violent, dramatic, and relentless. Flash floods, tectonic shifts, and the constant grinding of water against rock combined to create this masterpiece of erosion. The result is a landscape that seems almost too dramatic to be real, with towering cliffs, twisted rock formations, and a river that seems impossibly small to have created such monumentality. What strikes visitors first is the sheer scale of the canyon. Standing on the rim, particularly at the main viewpoint near Hobus, you're confronted with a vista that stretches beyond the horizon. The canyon walls drop away in terraced layers, each one revealing different geological periods through distinct colors and textures. The rock faces range from deep burgundy to pale yellow, creating a natural palette that shifts throughout the day as the sun moves across the sky. The canyon floor tells its own story of survival and adaptation. Despite the harsh conditions, scorching daytime temperatures and near-freezing nights, this landscape supports a surprising variety of life. Kokerboom trees, or quiver trees, dot the canyon floor like ancient sentinels, their thick trunks and sparse branches perfectly adapted to store water and minimize surface area. These trees can live for over 300 years, becoming living monuments to desert resilience. Wildlife in the canyon has evolved to be equally resourceful. Klipspringers, small antelope with hooves designed for rocky terrain, navigate the canyon walls with impossible grace. Baboons have established territories along the river, while black eagles soar through the canyon's thermals, using the massive rock walls as hunting grounds. The Fish River itself, though reduced to a series of pools for most of the year, supports fish species that survive by burrowing into mud during dry seasons. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Fish River Canyon is how it rewards those who venture beyond the rim. The 5-day hiking trail through the canyon floor is considered one of the world's great wilderness experiences. Hikers descend into a landscape that feels prehistoric, where the only sounds are the wind through the rocks and the occasional call of a fish eagle. The trail demands respect. There are no facilities, no rescue services, and temperatures can exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit in summer. Yet for those who make the journey, the canyon reveals intimate details invisible from above. Hidden springs, ancient rock art, and perspectives that transform the canyon from a scenic viewpoint into a living, breathing ecosystem. Number 10. Sossusvlei, the Theater of Red Giants. In the heart of the Namib Desert lies Sossusvlei, a landscape so surreal it seems designed by an artist who refused to accept the limitations of reality. This isn't just another desert vista. It's a theater where some of the world's tallest sand dunes perform a daily dance of light and shadow that has mesmerized visitors for generations. Here, dunes tower over 1,000 feet into the sky, their surfaces shifting from deep burgundy to fiery orange to golden amber as the sun traces its path across the heavens. The name Sossusvlei means dead-end marsh in Afrikaans, referring to the clay pan where the Souchab River occasionally terminates after rare rainfall. But this prosaic translation fails to capture the otherworldly majesty of this place. The dunes here are among the highest in the world, with Big Daddy, the most famous of the giants, rising over 1,050 feet above the desert floor. These aren't just piles of sand, they're geological monuments that have been sculpted by wind and time into perfect mathematical curves. What makes Sossusvlei truly extraordinary is its interplay of contrasts. The deep red sand gets its color from iron oxide that has been oxidizing for millions of years, creating a palette that ranges from rust to crimson to deep burgundy. Against this backdrop, the white clay pan creates a stark contrast that seems almost painted. When the light is right, particularly in the early morning or late afternoon, the dunes appear to glow from within, their surfaces creating a topography of light and shadow that shifts minute by minute. The most photographed location within Sossusvlei is Defy, a white clay pan dotted with the black skeletons of camel thorn trees. These trees died approximately 900 years ago when the climate changed and the area became too dry to support them. But here's where the story becomes truly remarkable. The trees haven't decomposed. The combination of extreme dryness and the clay pan's composition has mummified them, creating a scene that looks like abstract art. These skeletal trees, some over 900 years old, stand against the red dunes like sculptures in a gallery where the walls are made of shifting sand. The physical experience of climbing these dunes is unforgettable. Each step up the knife-edge ridge requires extraordinary effort, as your feet sink into sand that seems to actively resist your progress. The climb up Big Daddy can take over an hour, but the reward is a 360-degree view that encompasses the entire dune field, the clay pans below, and the distant mountains that frame this desert theater. From the summit, you can see how the dunes form chains and corridors, creating a topography that's constantly changing yet somehow eternal. The wildlife here has adapted to this harsh environment in remarkable ways. Ostriches wander the dune corridors, their tracks creating temporary art in the sand. Beetles have evolved to harvest water from the morning fog, while lizards perform elaborate dances on the hot sand to keep their feet from burning. Even the plants tell stories of adaptation. The occasional succulent or grass tuft represents a successful gamble against the desert's odds. But perhaps the most magical aspect of Sossusvlei is its temporal nature. The dunes here are constantly moving, driven by prevailing winds that shift and sculpt them over time. A dune that exists today may be completely different in shape and position within a few years. This makes every visit unique. You're not just seeing a landscape, you're witnessing a moment in a geological performance that has been playing for millions of years. Number 9. Kolmanskop, the Diamond Ghost Town. Rising from the Namib Desert like a fever dream, Kolmanskop stands as one of the world's most hauntingly beautiful ghost towns. This isn't just abandoned buildings slowly crumbling in the desert. This is a place where the Namib Desert is actively reclaiming civilization, creating one of the most surreal and photogenic locations on Earth. Here, sand dunes pour through doorways like golden waterfalls, living rooms have become indoor deserts, and the boundary between architecture and landscape has completely dissolved. The story of Kolmanskop begins in 1908 with a discovery that would transform this remote corner of Namibia overnight. A railway worker named Zacharias Lawala found a shiny stone near the railway line and showed it to his supervisor, who recognized it as a diamond. Within months, word spread of the incredible diamond deposits in the area, and prospectors from around the world descended on this previously uninhabited stretch of desert. The town that emerged was nothing short of extraordinary, a German colonial settlement that boasted amenities rivaling European cities of the time. At its peak, Kolmanskop was home to over 1,000 people living in unprecedented luxury for such a remote location. The town featured a hospital equipped with the first X-ray machine in the southern hemisphere, a ballroom, a school, a power plant, and even a bowling alley. The residents enjoyed champagne and caviar shipped from Europe, while their children played in a purpose-built playground. The town's architecture reflected German colonial style, with wide verandas, high ceilings, and ornate details that spoke of wealth and permanence. But permanence proved to be an illusion. By the 1920s, richer diamond fields had been discovered further south, and Kolmanskop began its gradual decline. The last residents left in 1956, abandoning their homes to the desert that had always been waiting patiently outside their doors. What happened next was remarkable. The Namib Desert didn't just reclaim the town, it transformed it into something entirely new. Today, visiting Kolmanskop is like entering a surreal dreamscape. Sand has poured through windows and doorways, creating undulating dunes inside what were once elegant living rooms. Wallpaper peels from walls that rise from beds of sand, while bathtubs emerge from dunes like archaeological artifacts. The hospital's X-ray room has become a canvas where light streams through broken windows, creating patterns on sand that shifts with each desert wind. The visual impact is extraordinary. Photographers travel from around the world to capture the interplay of light, shadow, and sand within these abandoned structures. Each room tells a different story. The manager's house with its grand staircase now half buried in sand, the butcher shop where sand has created natural sculptures, the schoolhouse where children's desks peek above dunes like islands in a golden sea. What makes Kolmanskop truly remarkable isn't just its visual drama, it's how it represents the temporary nature of human ambition against the backdrop of geological time. The desert's reclamation of the town isn't violent or destructive, it's gentle, almost artistic. The sand doesn't destroy the buildings, it transforms them into something new, creating a collaboration between human architecture and natural forces that's more beautiful than either could achieve alone. The town has become a powerful symbol of how nature ultimately reclaims all human endeavors, but it does so in a way that's hauntingly beautiful rather than simply melancholy. Walking through Kolmanskop, you're not just seeing ruins, you're witnessing an ongoing transformation where the desert is creating art from abandonment, turning human history into something that transcends both civilization and wilderness. Along the remote border between Namibia and Angola, where the Kunini River has carved its way through ancient rock for millions of years, lies one of southern Africa's most spectacular waterfalls. Epupa Falls isn't just a single cascade, it's actually a series of waterfalls that drop over 200 feet through a landscape of baobab trees, date palms and rocky gorges that, honestly, seem lifted right from a fantasy novel. This is where the Kunene River, after meandering through hundreds of miles of arid landscape, suddenly remembers its power and creates a display that rivals any waterfall on the continent. The name Epupa comes from the Herero word meaning foam, and once you witness the falls in full flow, the name makes perfect sense. The river doesn't just fall, it explodes over the rocky precipice, creating clouds of mist that rise hundreds of feet into the air. This mist supports a micro-ecosystem that's dramatically different from the surrounding semi-arid landscape. Massive baobab trees, some over 1,000 years old, stand as sentinels around the falls, their massive trunks storing water that allows them to survive the harsh conditions. What makes Epupa Falls truly extraordinary is its setting. This isn't a waterfall you can simply drive to. Reaching it requires a journey through some of Namibia's most remote and challenging terrain. The landscape around the falls is a tapestry of red sandstone, ancient granite and volcanic rock that tells the story of southern Africa's geological evolution. The river has carved a series of gorges and canyons through this landscape, creating a water feature that seems almost impossibly dramatic for such an arid region. The falls are at their most spectacular during the rainy season, typically from February to May, when the Kunene River swells with water from the Angolan highlands. During these months, the volume of water cascading over the falls can be truly awesome, with multiple channels creating a curtain of water that spans nearly half a mile. The sound is overwhelming, a constant roar that can be heard for miles, punctuated by the crash of water against rock and the whistle of wind through the gorge. But Epupa Falls isn't just about the water. The area around the falls is home to the Himba people, one of the last semi-nomadic tribes in Africa. Their traditional lifestyle has remained largely unchanged for centuries, and their villages dot the landscape around the falls. The Himba have a deep spiritual connection to the Kunene River and the falls, viewing them as sacred sites where ancestors' spirits reside. Their presence adds a profound cultural dimension to the natural spectacle, creating a living heritage that makes the falls more than just a scenic attraction. The ecosystem around Epupa Falls is equally remarkable. The combination of permanent water, varied topography, and different microclimates has created a biodiversity hotspot in the middle of one of Africa's most arid regions. Crocodiles bask on the rocky shores below the falls while fish eagles soar overhead. The vegetation ranges from succulent desert plants to riverside forests, creating habitat for everything from tiny sunbirds to massive baobab trees. The geological story written in the rocks around Epupa Falls is equally fascinating. The river has exposed layers of rock that span hundreds of millions of years, revealing the ancient history of this part of Africa. The falls themselves are the result of differential erosion. The river has carved through softer rock layers while being temporarily halted by harder granite formations, creating the dramatic drop that defines the falls. Perhaps most remarkably, Epupa Falls represents the power of water to create beauty and life in even the most challenging environments. In a region where rainfall is sporadic and drought is common, the falls stand as a testament to the river's journey from the distant highlands of Angola, bringing life and spectacular beauty to one of Africa's most remote frontiers. Number 7, Tweefelfontein, the world's largest rock art gallery. In the heart of the Damaraland region, where red sandstone formations rise from the desert floor like ancient cathedrals, lies Tweefelfontein, a site that transforms our understanding of prehistoric art and human creativity. This isn't just another archaeological site, it's the world's largest concentration of rock engravings, with over 5,000 individual petroglyphs scattered across a landscape that has remained virtually unchanged for thousands of years. Here, ancient artists created what might be humanity's first outdoor art gallery, using the desert's red rock faces as canvases for stories that continue to speak across millennia. The name Tweefelfontein means doubtful spring in Afrikaans, referring to the small spring that attracted both ancient peoples and modern visitors to this remote location. But there's nothing doubtful about the artistic legacy preserved here. The petroglyphs date back over 6,000 years, with some possibly reaching 10,000 years old, making them among the oldest rock art in Africa. These aren't crude scratches or simple symbols. They're sophisticated artworks that demonstrate remarkable skill, artistic vision, and a deep understanding of the animals and landscapes they depict. Walking through Twyfell feels like entering a vast outdoor museum where every rock face might contain a masterpiece. The engravings cover a wide range of subjects, but the most spectacular are the animal depictions. Elephants, lions, rhinos, giraffes, zebras, and antelopes are rendered with such accuracy and artistic flair that they seem to leap from the stone. The artist didn't just create simple outlines, they captured movement, personality, and the essence of each animal with techniques that wouldn't be out of place in a modern art gallery. What makes these engravings truly remarkable is their preservation. The dry climate and the durability of the sandstone have protected the artworks from weathering, while the remote location has kept them safe from vandalism. The engravings appear almost fresh, with details so crisp you can make out individual features like the texture of an elephant's hide or the spots on a giraffe's neck. The patina that has developed over millennia has actually enhanced many of the engravings, creating a contrast that makes the images stand out dramatically against the red rock. The artistic techniques used at Twyfell demonstrate sophisticated understanding of composition and visual storytelling. Many engravings are arranged in complex scenes that tell stories, hunting expeditions, animal migrations, or perhaps religious ceremonies. The artists use the natural contours of the rock to enhance their work, incorporating cracks, bulges, and shadows into their compositions. Some engravings are placed in locations that align with astronomical events, suggesting that the site may have served as both an art gallery and an ancient calendar. But Twyfell isn't just about the past. It's a living heritage site that continues to hold deep meaning for the local Damara and Nama communities. These groups still recognize many of the animals depicted in the engravings and maintain oral traditions that may connect to the original artists. The site serves as a bridge between ancient and modern cultures, demonstrating the continuity of human creativity and spiritual connection to the landscape. The geological setting enhances the artistic impact. The red sandstone formations create a natural amphitheater where the engravings are displayed against dramatic backdrops of desert mountains and these really expansive skies. The rock formations themselves are geological artworks, sculpted by wind and water into shapes that, just naturally complement the human-made art. The interplay between natural and human creativity creates an aesthetic experience that's both primal and sophisticated. Recent archaeological work at Twyfell has revealed that the site was used continuously for thousands of years, with different cultural groups adding their own artistic contributions. This makes it not just a snapshot of ancient art, but a record of human creativity spanning millennia. The engravings show the evolution of artistic styles, the changing animal populations of the region, and the continuous human presence in this challenging landscape. Number 6. Damaraland, the Desert Elephants Kingdom. In the northwestern reaches of Namibia, where the skeleton coast meets the interior highlands, lies Damaraland, a landscape so raw and magnificent that it defies easy description. This isn't just another desert region, it's a geological wonderland where massive granite inselbergs rise from red sand plains, ancient valleys hide secret springs, and one of Africa's most remarkable wildlife adaptations plays out daily. Here, desert elephants, the only population of elephants in the world adapted to true desert conditions, roam across vast territories that would challenge even the most resilient desert animals. The elephants of Damaraland represent one of nature's most extraordinary adaptations. These aren't a separate species, but rather regular African elephants that have evolved behavioral and physical adaptations to survive in one of the world's harshest environments. Their feet have become larger and more padded to distribute weight across soft sand, their bodies are leaner to cope with limited food resources, and most remarkably, they've developed an almost supernatural ability to locate water sources across vast distances. These elephants can travel over 40 miles between water sources, navigating by memory and instinct across a landscape that seems to offer no landmarks. The landscape itself is a masterpiece of geological drama. Massive granite mountains rise abruptly from the desert floor, their surfaces carved and sculpted by millions of years of wind and rare rainfall. These inselbergs, as geologists call them, create a landscape that's both alien and beautiful. The Spitzkappe, known as the Matterhorn of Africa, stands as the most dramatic example, a granite peak that rises over 2,300 feet from the surrounding plains, its slopes decorated with ancient rock art, and its summit offering views that stretch to the horizon in every direction. What makes Damaraland truly special is how life has adapted to such extreme conditions. The desert elephants have learned to strip bark from trees without killing them, to dig for water in dry riverbeds, and to follow ancient migration routes that connect seasonal water sources. During the dry season, these elephants might converge on a single spring, creating gatherings that seem impossible in such a harsh environment. Watching a family of elephants emerge from the desert heat shimmer to drink at a small spring, their massive forms creating reflections in the precious water, is one of Africa's most moving wildlife experiences. The region's other wildlife is equally remarkable. Desert-adapted rhinos, among the rarest animals on Earth, navigate the rocky terrain with surprising grace. These rhinos have developed longer legs and different foraging behaviors compared to their savanna cousins, allowing them to cover the vast distances necessary to find food and water in this challenging environment. Giraffes browse on trees that seem impossibly small to sustain such large animals, while ostriches and springbok have become masters of water conservation. The human history of Damaraland adds another layer of fascination. The Damara people have lived in this region for thousands of years, developing intimate knowledge of every water source, seasonal grazing area, and wildlife migration route. Their traditional knowledge has been crucial to conservation efforts as they understand patterns and behaviors that might take scientists decades to document. The region is also home to some of Africa's most significant rock art sites, with petroglyphs that may date back over 10,000 years. The geological diversity of Damaraland creates a constantly changing landscape. Ancient river valleys, now dry for most of the year, cut through the terrain like green ribbons during the rare times when flash floods bring temporary abundance. These ephemeral rivers, or rivières as they're known locally, support gallery forests of ana trees and other vegetation that create oases of green in the red desert landscape. The contrast between the lush river valleys and the surrounding desert is so dramatic that it seems almost surreal. Perhaps most remarkably, Damaraland demonstrates how conservation can work in harmony with local communities. The region's wildlife has recovered dramatically since the implementation of community-based conservation programs that give local people direct benefits from wildlife tourism. The result is a landscape where elephants, rhinos, and other wildlife roam freely across vast territories, while local communities benefit economically from their presence. If this journey through Namibia's wonders has already left you speechless, hit that subscribe button, because we're only halfway through, and what's coming next will redefine everything you thought you knew about natural beauty. Along Namibia's Atlantic coastline stretches one of the world's most hauntingly beautiful and treacherous shores, the Skeleton Coast. This 300-mile stretch of coastline has earned its ominous name from the thousands of shipwrecks that litter its beaches and the bleached bones of whales and seals that dot the sand dunes. But beyond its reputation as a ship graveyard, lies one of the world's most remarkable ecosystems, where the cold Atlantic Ocean meets the ancient Namib Desert in a collision of forces that creates landscapes of surreal beauty and surprising life. The Skeleton Coast is defined by extremes that seem to contradict each other at every turn. Here, seals congregate in colonies of hundreds of thousands just meters from one of the world's most arid deserts. Flamingos feed in salt pans while sand dunes tower overhead. Desert elephants emerge from the interior to walk along beaches where Atlantic waves crash against shores that haven't seen meaningful rainfall in years. This is a landscape where the impossible becomes routine, where life finds ways to thrive in conditions that should be utterly hostile. The coastline itself is a study in raw geological power. The Benguela Current, flowing north from Antarctica, brings nutrient-rich waters that support massive populations of marine life, but it also creates dense fog banks that have claimed countless ships over the centuries. This fog, which can extend 20 miles inland, is both a blessing and a curse. It provides the only source of moisture for much of the coastal ecosystem, but it also creates navigation hazards that have made this coast legendary among sailors for all the wrong reasons. The shipwrecks scattered along the Skeleton Coast tell stories of maritime tragedy spanning centuries. The Eduard Bolin, a German cargo ship that ran aground in 1909, now sits several hundred meters inland, surrounded by sand dunes that have advanced since the wreck occurred. The Benguela Eagle, a fishing vessel that was deliberately grounded in 1973, has become an iconic landmark, its rusted hull creating a stark contrast against the pristine beach. These wrecks aren't just historical artifacts, they've become part of the ecosystem, providing shelter for desert animals and creating artificial reefs that support marine life. But the Skeleton Coast isn't just about death and desolation, It's about life thriving in the most unlikely conditions. The massive seal colonies at Cape Cross represent one of the world's largest concentrations of marine mammals. During pupping season, up to 200,000 Cape fur seals gather on the beaches, creating a spectacle of life that seems impossible in such a harsh environment. The sound is overwhelming, a constant cacophony of barking, calling, and the crash of waves that creates a symphony of survival. The inland areas of the Skeleton Coast reveal even more surprising adaptations. Desert elephants emerge from the interior to feed on vegetation in the seasonal rivers that flow toward the coast. These elephants have learned to dig for water in dry riverbeds and to navigate by following ancient paths that connect water sources across vast distances. Watching a family of elephants silhouetted against the setting sun as they make their way across the desert toward the coast is one of Africa's most moving wildlife experiences. The plant life along the Skeleton Coast demonstrates remarkable adaptation to harsh conditions. The Welwitschia mirabilis, found nowhere else on Earth, can live for over 1,000 years while surviving on nothing but fog and rare rainfall. These plants look like something from an alien world, with twisted, leather-like leaves that sprawl across the desert floor. The geological landscape of the Skeleton Coast is equally extraordinary. Ancient river valleys, now dry for most of the year, cut through the terrain like scars in the earth. These valleys support gallery forests of ana trees and other vegetation that create green ribbons in the red desert landscape. The contrast between the lush river valleys and the surrounding desert is so dramatic that it seems almost surreal, particularly when viewed from the air. Perhaps most remarkably, the Skeleton Coast represents the ultimate expression of life's ability to adapt and thrive in the most challenging conditions. This is a place where the boundaries between life and death, abundance and scarcity, beauty and desolation become meaningless. Here, in one of the world's most hostile environments, life doesn't just survive, it creates some of the most spectacular displays of natural abundance anywhere on Earth. Number 4. Brandberg Mountain, the roof of Namibia. Rising from the red plains of Damaraland like a granite monument to geological time, Brandberg Mountain stands as Namibia's highest peak and one of the most remarkable monoliths on Earth. This isn't just another mountain, it's a massive granite intrusion that rises over 8,400 feet above sea level and nearly 6,000 feet above the surrounding desert floor. The mountain's name, meaning Fire Mountain in Afrikaans, comes from the way its granite faces glow like burning embers in the light of sunrise and sunset, creating a spectacle that has mesmerized visitors for thousands of years. Brandberg is what geologists call an intrusive igneous formation, a massive bubble of molten rock that cooled beneath the Earth's surface over 130 million years ago. Over millions of years, erosion stripped away the overlying rock layers, exposing this granite core and creating the massive monolith we see today. The mountain's circular base covers over 260 square miles, making it one of the largest single rock formations in the world. Its slopes are carved with gorges, valleys, and fantastic rock formations that create a landscape of extraordinary beauty and complexity. The approach to Brandberg is an adventure in itself. The mountain rises abruptly from the surrounding plains, its massive bulk dominating the horizon from distances of over 60 miles. As you get closer, the true scale becomes apparent. This isn't just a tall mountain but a geological titan that seems to defy the laws of physics. The granite walls rise in vertical faces that tower thousands of feet above the desert floor, their surfaces carved and sculpted by wind and rare rainfall into fantastic shapes and textures. What makes Brandberg truly extraordinary is its role as a repository of ancient human culture. The mountain contains over 45,000 rock art sites, making it one of the world's most important archaeological treasures. The most famous of these is the White Lady of Brandberg, an enigmatic painting that has sparked decades of archaeological debate. The figure, painted in white pigment on a granite overhang, appears to be a human form with elaborate decorations and what might be a bow or ceremonial object. The painting's style and execution suggest it was created by skilled artists who understood composition, proportion, and the use of natural rock features to enhance their work. The rock art at Brandberg spans thousands of years and includes work from different cultural groups. The paintings and engravings depict everything from hunting scenes and animal migrations to ceremonial dances and astronomical observations. Many of the artworks are located in remote gorges and hidden valleys that require challenging climbs to reach, suggesting that these sites held special significance for their creators. The preservation of these artworks is remarkable. The dry climate and the granite's durability have protected them from weathering, while the remote location has kept them safe from vandalism. Climbing Brandberg requires serious preparation and respect for the mountain's challenges. The granite faces can be scorching hot during the day and surprisingly cold at night. Water is scarce, and the routes to the summit require rock climbing skills and excellent navigation abilities. But for those who make the journey, the rewards are extraordinary. From the summit, the view encompasses much of northern Namibia, from the Skeleton Coast all the way to the interior highlands, revealing the full scope of the country's geological diversity. The ecosystem around Brandberg is honestly equally remarkable. The mountain creates its own weather patterns, capturing moisture from passing clouds and creating microclimates that support vegetation not found in the surrounding desert. Hidden valleys contain springs that support lush vegetation, while the granite faces provide habitat for specialized plants that have adapted to life on vertical rock walls. The mountain is home to desert elephants, black rhinos, and a variety of smaller mammals that use the rocky terrain for shelter and the scattered water sources for survival. The geological story written in Brandberg's rocks is fascinating. The granite contains minerals and formations that reveal the mountain's violent birth deep beneath the Earth's surface. The slow cooling of the magma created large crystals and unusual mineral formations that make the mountain a natural laboratory for understanding igneous processes. The way the granite has weathered and eroded over millions of years demonstrates the long-term effects of desert conditions on solid rock. Perhaps most remarkably, Brandberg represents the intersection of geological time and human history. The mountain has been a landmark and spiritual site for thousands of years, its massive presence serving as a navigation point and gathering place for ancient peoples. The rock art sites suggest that the mountain held deep significance for its creators, serving as a canvas for their most important artistic and spiritual expressions. Number 3. Etosha National Park, the Great White Place. In the heart of northern Namibia lies one of Africa's most extraordinary wildlife spectacles, Etosha National Park, an 8,600 square mile sanctuary that centers around one of the world's largest salt pans. The name Etosha means Great White Place in the Oshivambo language, and once you witness the massive salt pan that dominates the landscape, the name makes perfect sense. This isn't just another African game park, it's a place where the drama of survival plays out against a backdrop so surreal it seems designed by nature's most imaginative artist. The Etosha Pan itself is a geological marvel that defies easy explanation. This massive salt flat stretches for over 75 miles in length and 35 miles in width, covering an area larger than some countries. For most of the year it's a blinding white expanse of crystallized salt that creates mirages so convincing they seem like lakes from a distance. The pan is so flat and so white that it's visible from space, and during the dry season, it becomes a lunar landscape where the horizon seems to disappear into infinity. But the true magic of Etosha happens at the edges of this salt pan, where permanent springs and seasonal waterholes create some of the most spectacular wildlife viewing opportunities on Earth. During the dry season, these water sources become magnets for every living thing in the park. Elephants arrive in family groups, their massive forms creating clouds of dust as they converge on the precious water. Lions wait in the shadows, knowing that every animal in the park must eventually come to drink. The result is a concentration of wildlife that can be, honestly, breathtaking. Hundreds of zebras, springbok and wildebeest gathering at a single waterhole, while predators watch from the surrounding bushland. The diversity of wildlife at Etosha is, well, staggering. The park is home to over 114 mammal species, including 4 of Africa's Big Five: lions, leopards, elephants, and both black and white rhinos. The absence of buffalo and hippos is explained by the park's arid nature, but what Etosha lacks in riverine species, it more than makes up for in desert-adapted wildlife. The park's elephants are among the largest in Africa, their size a testament to the rich mineral content of the water they drink. The lions of Etosha have adapted to hunting in open terrain, developing strategies and behaviors that differ significantly from their counterparts in more forested regions. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Etosha is how it transforms during the rainy season. When the summer rains arrive, usually between October and March, the salt pan can fill with water, creating a massive temporary lake that attracts hundreds of thousands of flamingos. The sight of these pink birds against the white salt and blue sky is, honestly, one of Africa's most spectacular natural phenomena. The entire ecosystem explodes with life as seasonal grasses emerge, flowers bloom, and millions of insects provide food for a vast array of bird species. The park's geology tells a fascinating story of climatic change and adaptation. The Etosha Pan was formed over millions of years through a combination of tectonic activity and changing climate patterns. Ancient rivers once flowed through this area, but as the climate became more arid, these rivers dried up, leaving behind the salt deposits that form the pan today. The springs that feed the waterholes around the pan are remnants of this ancient water system, emerging from underground aquifers that have been flowing for thousands of years. What makes Etosha truly special for wildlife viewing is the park's unique landscape. The open terrain around the pan provides unobstructed views of wildlife interactions that would be hidden by vegetation in other parks. Here you can watch the entire drama of a lion hunt unfold, from the initial stalking through the final chase. The contrast between the white salt pan and the golden grasslands creates a natural amphitheater where every animal stands out dramatically against the backdrop. The park's conservation success is equally remarkable. Etosha has been instrumental in the recovery of several endangered species, particularly the black rhino. The park's population of black rhinos has grown from near extinction to over 400 individuals, making it one of the most important breeding populations in Africa. The park's anti-poaching efforts and habitat management have created a safe haven for these magnificent animals, allowing visitors to see rhinos in their natural habitat, a privilege that's becoming increasingly rare elsewhere in Africa. The bird life at Etosha is equally spectacular. The park is home to over 340 bird species ranging from the massive Kori bustard to tiny sunbirds that feed on seasonal flowers. The seasonal variation in bird populations is extraordinary. During the dry season, the park hosts massive flocks of sandgrouse that fly in from the surrounding desert to drink at the waterholes, while the wet season brings migrants from across Africa and beyond. Perhaps most remarkably, Etosha represents the perfect balance between accessibility and wilderness. The park's well-developed infrastructure makes it possible to witness some of Africa's most spectacular wildlife phenomena without sacrificing the sense of being in true wilderness. The floodlit waterholes at the park's rest camps allow for nighttime viewing that reveals the park's nocturnal residents, from hunting leopards to the rarely seen aardvark. Number 2. Spitzkapa, the Matterhorn of Africa. Rising from the red plains of Damaraland like a granite spear thrust into the sky, Spitzkapa stands as one of the most dramatically beautiful mountain formations in Africa. This isn't just another rocky outcrop, it's a geological masterpiece that soars over 2,300 feet above the surrounding desert floor. Its granite spires and domes creating a landscape so otherworldly that it seems designed by nature's most ambitious sculptor. Known as the Matterhorn of Africa, Spitzkapa combines sheer vertical drama with an intimacy that allows visitors to explore its hidden valleys, ancient rock art, and unique ecosystem up close. The mountain's formation story reads like a geological thriller. Spitzkapa is what remains of a massive volcanic system that was active over 100 million years ago. The mountain we see today is actually the solidified magma chamber of an ancient volcano. The volcanic cone itself has long since eroded away, leaving behind this granite core that has been carved and sculpted by wind and rare rainfall over millions of years. The result is a landscape of impossible beauty, where smooth granite domes rise alongside razor-sharp spires, creating a topography that challenges both climbers and photographers. What makes Spitzkapa truly extraordinary is how it combines massive scale with intimate detail. From a distance, the mountain dominates the horizon like a granite cathedral, its main peak rising in an almost perfect pyramid that seems to pierce the sky. But as you get closer, the mountain reveals incredible complexity: hidden valleys, natural pools, balanced rocks, and cave systems that create a landscape of constant discovery. The granite has been sculpted into fantastic shapes: arches that frame the desert beyond, balanced rocks that seem to defy gravity, and smooth-walled gorges that create natural amphitheaters. The rock art at Spitzkapa adds another layer of wonder to this already remarkable landscape. The mountain contains some of Namibia's most significant archaeological sites, with petroglyphs and paintings that date back thousands of years. The most famous of these is the Bushman's Paradise, a series of rock overhangs decorated with paintings that depict hunting scenes, animal migrations, and human figures engaged in various activities. The art isn't just historically significant, it's remarkably well preserved and artistically sophisticated, demonstrating the skill and creativity of the ancient peoples who considered this mountain sacred. The climbing at Spitzkoppe is legendary among rock climbers worldwide. The granite offers some of the best multi-pitch climbing in Africa, with routes that range from moderate scrambles to extremely challenging technical climbs. The rock quality is exceptional, solid granite that provides secure holds and dramatic exposure. The main peak requires serious climbing skills and can take a full day to complete, but the summit provides one of the most spectacular views in Namibia, encompassing the entire Damaraland region and extending to the distant Skeleton Coast. But you don't need to be a technical climber to experience Spitzkoppe's magic. The mountain's base is accessible to anyone, and the network of valleys and gorges provides endless opportunities for exploration. The rock pool is a natural water catchment that fills during the rainy season, creating a desert oasis surrounded by towering granite walls. The arch is a natural granite formation that creates a perfect frame for photographing the desert landscape beyond. The balanced rock is a massive granite boulder that appears to be precariously balanced on a small pedestal, creating one of the most photographed landmarks in Namibia. The ecosystem around Spitzkoppe is equally remarkable. The mountain creates its own microclimate, capturing moisture from passing clouds and creating conditions that support vegetation not found in the surrounding desert. Hidden valleys contain springs that support lush vegetation, while the granite faces provide habitat for specialized plants that have adapted to life on vertical rock walls. The mountain is home to rock dassies or hyraxes, small mammals that are surprisingly related to elephants, and a variety of bird species that nest in the rock crevices. The geological diversity of Spitzkoppe is extraordinary. The granite contains large crystals and unusual mineral formations that make the mountain a natural laboratory for understanding igneous processes. The way the granite has weathered and eroded over millions of years has created a landscape of incredible variety, from smooth rounded domes to sharp angular spires. The mountain's surface is decorated with mineral veins, crystal formations, and unusual rock textures that create patterns of extraordinary beauty. Perhaps most remarkably, Spitzkoppe represents the perfect synthesis of geological drama and human accessibility. This is a mountain that inspires awe from any distance, yet invites exploration and discovery. Whether you're a technical climber seeking the ultimate granite challenge, a photographer chasing the perfect light, or simply someone who appreciates natural beauty, Spitzkoppe offers experiences that will remain with you forever. The mountain embodies the essence of Namibia itself, ancient, beautiful, challenging, and ultimately unforgettable. Number 1. Sossusvlei at sunrise, the Cathedral of Light. And now we reach the pinnacle of Namibian beauty, Sossusvlei at sunrise. A phenomenon so breathtaking that it transcends mere landscape photography to become a spiritual experience. This isn't just about visiting the world's tallest sand dunes, it's about witnessing one of nature's most perfect daily performances, where light, shadow, and ancient sand combine to create a masterpiece that's been millennia in the making. Here, in the pre-dawn darkness of the Namib desert, magic happens every single day, with a reliability that makes it all the more precious. The experience begins in complete darkness, usually around 4:30 in the morning when the desert is still cool and the stars shine with a clarity that's impossible in light-polluted areas. The journey to Sossusvlei in the pre-dawn hours is an adventure in itself, navigating by headlight through a landscape that seems alien in the darkness, with massive dunes looming like sleeping giants on either side of the road. The silence is complete, except for the soft whisper of wind across sand, creating an atmosphere of anticipation that builds with every mile. As you approach the dunes, the first hint of dawn appears as a faint glow on the eastern horizon. This is when the real magic begins. The sky slowly lightens from deep purple to violet to rose, and the dunes begin to emerge from the darkness like sculptures being revealed by a master artist. The first light catches the knife-edge ridges of the dunes, creating thin lines of gold that seem to glow against the purple shadows. This is the moment when photographers around the world hold their breath, the few minutes when the light is perfect, when the dunes are transformed from mere piles of sand into works of art. But the true spectacle happens when the sun finally breaks the horizon. the light hits the eastern faces of the dunes and suddenly the entire landscape explodes into color. The sand, which appeared uniformly red in photographs, reveals itself to be a complex palette of colors: deep burgundy in the shadows, bright orange where the light hits directly, and every shade of red, gold, and amber in between. The dunes don't just change color, they seem to come alive, with the interplay of light and shadow creating a topography that shifts and changes minute by minute. The most famous viewpoint is from the top of Big Daddy, the tallest dune in the area at over 1,050 feet. The climb is challenging. Each step up the knife-edge ridge requires extraordinary effort as your feet sink into sand that seems to actively resist your progress. But the reward is a view that encompasses the entire Sossusvlei Basin, with its white clay pan, black skeleton trees, and the endless sea of red dunes stretching to the horizon. From this vantage point, you can see how the dunes form chains and corridors, creating a topography that's both complex and harmonious. The descent from Big Daddy down into Defy is one of the most exhilarating experiences in Namibia. The steep sand face allows for giant leaps that would be impossible on solid ground, and the soft sand provides a cushioned landing that makes the descent feel like flying. Running down the dune face with the wind whipping around you and the vast landscape spreading out below is pure joy, a reminder that nature's most spectacular places are also meant to be experienced with all the senses. Defy itself is the crown jewel of Sossusvlei. This white clay pan, dotted with the black skeletons of 900-year-old camel thorn trees, creates a scene that seems almost too perfect to be real. The contrast between the white clay, the black trees, and the red dunes creates a natural composition that photographers dream of. But beyond its photogenic qualities, Defy tells a powerful story about time, change, and survival. These trees died when the climate changed and the area became too dry to support them, but the extreme dryness has preserved them perfectly, creating a monument to the ancient forest that once grew here. The light at Sossusvlei is constantly changing, creating an ever-evolving display that ensures no two visits are the same. As the sun rises higher, the harsh shadows of early morning give way to softer, more diffused light that reveals different aspects of the landscape. The midday sun creates a landscape of extremes, brilliant whites and deep shadows that emphasize the sculptural quality of the dunes. Late afternoon brings another magical hour, when the sun's angle creates long shadows and warm colors that rival the morning display. What makes Sossusvlei's sunrise truly special isn't just the visual spectacle. It's the profound sense of connection to natural processes that have been unfolding for millions of years. Standing on these dunes, watching the sun rise over a landscape that has remained essentially unchanged for millennia, you become part of a daily ritual that connects you to the deepest rhythms of the natural world. This is nature's cathedral, where the worship happens not through words or songs but through silent witness to beauty that speaks directly to the soul. The silence at Sossusvlei is as remarkable as the visual spectacle. In the early morning hours, the only sounds are the whisper of wind across sand and the occasional call of a distant bird. This silence isn't empty, it's full of presence, of the patient endurance of the desert, of the slow dance of sand and wind that has been shaping this landscape for millions of years. It's a silence that allows you to hear your own heartbeat, to feel your place in the vast sweep of geological time. Standing here, as the sun rises over the red dunes of Sossusvlei, watching light and shadow create a masterpiece that will be repeated tomorrow and the day after that, you understand why this place has become an icon of natural beauty. This isn't just a landscape, it's a daily reminder of the extraordinary beauty that exists in our world, waiting to be discovered by those willing to rise before dawn and venture into the desert to witness one of nature's most perfect performances. From the world's oldest desert to the continent's most spectacular canyon, from ghost towns swallowed by sand to waterfalls that appear like mirages in the desert, Namibia reveals itself as a country where the impossible becomes routine and the extraordinary becomes everyday. This is a land where nature has written its autobiography in landscapes so dramatic they seem fictional, yet remain achingly, beautifully real. What makes Namibia truly special isn't just the individual wonders we've explored. It's how they combine to create a country that challenges every assumption about what a landscape can be. Here, deserts meet oceans, ancient mountains rise from salt pans, and rivers carve canyons through terrain that seems too harsh to support any life at all. Yet life not only survives here, it thrives, adapts, and create spectacles that rival anything else on Earth. The wonders of Namibia are more than just scenic attractions. They're windows into Earth's most fundamental processes. These landscapes tell stories of geological time, of climate change, of adaptation and survival that span millions of years. They remind us that our planet is still actively creating beauty, still writing new chapters in the story of life on Earth. In a world that often feels completely mapped and explored, Namibia remains a frontier where every sunrise brings new discoveries and every vista offers a fresh perspective on the incredible planet we call home. Each wonder we've explored represents not just a destination but a different way of understanding the relationship between time, space and life itself. From the ancient rock art of Tweefelfontein to the daily drama of Sossusvley's sunrise, from the elephant highways of Damaraland to the shipwrecks of the Skeleton Coast, Namibia offers experiences that expand our sense of what's possible in the natural world. Perhaps most remarkably, these wonders exist in one of the world's most sparsely populated countries, where human impact remains minimal and natural processes continue largely undisturbed. This makes Namibia not just a beautiful destination but a precious repository of natural heritage that belongs to all humanity. These landscapes remind us of what Earth looked like before human influence became the dominant force shaping our planet's surface. If this journey through Namibia's most spectacular wonders has amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. These places deserve to be seen, understood, and protected for future generations who will also need to witness the raw power and beauty of the natural world. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.